Hello, I'm Darlene, and I'm with the Friends of Fairview group here in New Albany, Indiana, and we help take care of and preserve the Fairview Cemetery, as well as the legacies and stories of the people that are buried here. And one of the stories that I want to tell you today, in today's little short vignette, is the story of S.Ellen Jones. You can see her stone right here. Now, S.Ellen Jones, her first name was Sarah, so Sarah Ellen Jones was her name. She was born in 1853 and she died in 1932. Now, the cool thing about her is that she was a school teacher and a principal of a school. So she was in education for 51 years. She was a school teacher for those 51 years. And for 34 of those years, in addition to teaching, she was also the principal of an elementary school here in New Albany. So the name of that school was the 11th Street School. So the 11th Street School was built by the very famous, well-known architects here in New Albany, William and James Baines. They're also buried here in the cemetery, so we'll have to do a separate little vignette on them and their story. But they built the Culbertson Mansion. But they also built the 11th Street School, which Sarah Ellen Jones, she loved to be called Ellen, that was her preference, so Ellen or Ella. So Ellen Jones was the principal and a school teacher there for decades. Well, when she retired in 1922, at her retirement party, a bunch of her former students came and showed up, and they had gathered together amongst all of themselves $200 to give her as a gift. Now, you have to remember, back in 1922, $200 was significantly more than $200 can get you today, right? So it was a pretty good-sized gift to be given by her former students. Now, at her retirement, it was then announced that they were renaming the 11th Street School after her. So from then on, it became known as the S.Ellen Jones Elementary School. In the 1950s, the original 11th Street School was torn down and a new building was built in its place. So it now looks different. It doesn't look like the same original building, but it is still named S.Ellen Jones Elementary, after S.Ellen Jones right here, and her over 5 decades of dedication to education in that school, in this community and in that school. So here's another little awesome story that I want to tell you about her. Before I do that, I want to show you who she's buried with. Okay, so here we are at the Jones Monument. Her parents were William and Elizabeth Jones, and we find her buried here with her parents. There's Elizabeth and William Jones, and then with a brother and sister who died when they were little, M. Viola and Irwin W. Jones, and then her brother J. Edwards Jones as well, and then there's Sarah. So they're all here together. Now, William, her father, was a very prominent builder of steamboats. He was a steamboat builder here in New Albany, which during a certain time of our history here as a city was a huge industry, steamboat building. But he was a builder of boats. Her father, William Jones, her father, was a steamboat builder. Now, the thing I want to share about Ellen Jones, is her sister. She has another sister, Mary Jones, and Mary Jones married John McDonald, and she's buried over on the other side of the cemetery with her husband and their children. But Mary Jones McDonald, her husband, they bought the Culbertson Mansion here in New Albany. This big old mansion that you see right here, bought the Culbertson Mansion from Rebecca Culbertson when she was ready to move across the river to Louisville after her husband died. She sold this beautiful mansion and moved to Louisville. So the McDonalds moved in and lived there for 45 years. Now, during the early times that they were living in this house, Mary's sister, Ellen, was living there too. And then for a while in between, she was living in other places with a different sister and with her mother. After her father passed away, then she was living with her mother. And then later again, at the end of her life, the last several years of her life, she was back again living at the mansion, what we now call the Culbertson Mansion, but was actually her sister's house. Mary, John and Mary McDonald, was living back there with her sister again at what is now the Culbertson Mansion State Historic Site from Indiana. So we have the census record, the 1930 census record, has S.Ellen Jones living at the mansion with her sister. And also she passed away there. Her death certificate shows her having died in the house. We have an oral history from Helen McDonald, who grew up in the house. Helen was John and Mary's, one of their children, daughter. So S.Ellen Jones's niece. She remembers her aunt in the middle bedroom on the second floor. So if any of you ever go take a tour through the Culbertson Mansion, on the second floor middle bedroom, that's where S.Ellen Jones stayed when she lived at the house. So there you have it, the story of S.Ellen Jones. And there she is. One more look at her. See? Now you know. How awesome. Bye.